You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
I just want to read a thing I just saw on Awful Announcing about my show. Pablo Torre finds out, which we announced on the show. That is mostly the tone of the article that I'm reading.
Good.
The kicker is this, quote, "The show will certainly have a lot of hype behind it, so we'll see if this venture works out for Torre," end quote. Love a definitive, we'll see.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
There's a trailer, Domonique. I made a trailer.
So,
it's
I
on
watched your
YouTube.
trailer.
There's a podcast feed open on Apple and Spotify, on www.pablo.show. Judge for yourself.
I'd like to defend Awful Announcing. What would you want them to say?
Why would you want them to what do I want them to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's not
This
like...
looked great.
I watched your trailer, and in their defense, your trailer makes it quite clear that the show is awfully dependent on how well it's executed. We didn't get a piece of the show. Now, it's different if it's like, hey, we have this very, like, Kevin Hart is like, hey, I'm going to do stand-up.
You want me to do Kevin? You want me to have Kevin Hart level?
No, I'm saying
content?
that I understand, forget Kevin Hart. If we're like, hey, we're doing a quarterback competition, want to watch it? Who's going to be there? This quarterback competition is led by Patrick Mahomes. That'll be good. What you're doing is saying we are going to have a team.
Wait, you want me to do an NFL schedule release of my episodes? Because I got a banger for week 1.
So that's the point.
I got a banger.
So that's the point I'm making. That's my defense of them, is that what you said to them is like, you showed them a we'll see.
I showed him a little ankle. And in that ankle, there was both audio and video that played. Anyway, it's a thing where you could listen to it but watch it at the same time. It's all open work.
If I were to write this, I would be more positive about it because I know what the first episode is. I haven't heard it, but I've heard pieces of it. I know how good that is. I know that I did an interview with you that is absolutely riveting. That's going to be in there at some point. So, like, I would be more favorable, but they don't have anything to grab onto other than a website and
with some ankle
and a promo video, which isn't even a trailer. So it's not even
it's a vignette.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't even give you a taste of what the show is going to be.
Oh, it does though. That's the thing.
It doesn't really.
It's a video that you can listen to, and it involves a bit of reporting, some phone calls, some little essayistic stuff from me. Yeah, there's a little bit of a narrative, Domonique. It's a short story.
Okay, enough time. That's enough.
Can we move on to criticizing someone else's work?
Please.
Okay, so this Johnny Manziel.
Are the Baldwins a part of it? Because I got that in the trailer. It does seem like it. The Baldwins are a part of it, right?
You're gonna have to watch it and find out.
Mm.
Yeah, see, there it is.
Thank you.
I would like to talk about this Johnny Manziel doc that we were both watching here. So, thank you. I deserve that. Domonique and I came into the office at 10 p.m. last night, and it was empty. But we're staying here at the Elsewhere Hotel. It's lovely. I struggled to get into the door.
Sorry.
What?
I just feel like I let Jess down.
I said you guys were hustling backwards. Yeah. Why did you come in at 10:30?
Yeah, I let Jess down as my
You pulled in a mean. He laughs out loud at jokes in his headset.
Jess has been feeding great jokes to both of us. She said yesterday at the end of the last segment, they don't teach biology in Florida.
That was great.
And I was like, I should have said that.
Sure don't.
Way better.
Yeah. I mean, that was a mistake. She should have fed it to me because you're the one who said you're a biology teacher. You can't then say whatever.
All right, my bad, I guess.
I'm sorry, Jess. I just lashed out because I really...
you worked for free. You worked overtime, and you're not being compensated for it.
No, that's not it. That's it. Just generally, I know Jess's background in organizing, and I really value her respect, and it breaks my heart to think that I let Jess down as a true union man. So
no, it's okay. I mean, I don't mind you working for free when it's something like watching a documentary for funsies. I just don't know why you guys didn't like cuddle up in the hotel with like some popcorn on your big king size bed and
with
watch
a blanket
in the room. Like, why'd you come to the office?
Thought about it. So here's
that would have been so cute.
The sequence of events
Stick
last
your little
night.
feet up.
It's
Write
because
your little journal.
It's because Pablo is insecure. Is why we didn't do that.
Dominique never offered.
No.
I'm a gentleman.
So what happened was we were deciding we were going to do it in the lobby, and Pablo was like, "Let's watch this documentary." And I said, "Your room or mine, baby." And he said, "We can get into the studio." And then I was a little disappointed. I thought
I was the one who came up with the idea to ride a Ferris wheel together, and I'm not forward enough about my intentions for intimacy.
I mean, the Ferris wheel was a nice attempt, but when we got there, you decided that we weren't going to do it.
The line was really long.
That Ferris wheel at Bayside?
Yeah.
You sure you wanted to do that?
Well,
we didn't do it.
I've never been on a Ferris wheel, I should say.
I got Bayside stories for you. We'll get to them.
You've never been on a Ferris wheel? Ever?
Dominique and I were eating on the pool deck, eating some flatbreads together, and I was gazing off at the horizon and noting.
So not Lady and the Tramping It. Got it?
No spaghetti.
We did share pizzas.
We did. We went halvesies on 2 different pizzas. And I was gazing at the Ferris
Pablo
wheel.
paid, guys.
What?
It's the first time. It's the first time that he's paid.
So Dominique's one of those guys.
We've been
Mr.
going to
NFL
We've been going to restaurants
Here's my
together
platinum card before you could put your card
20,
down.
What, 2016, 2015? We've been going to dinners
long-ass time.
together since then. Pablo has never paid for a dinner. Not once.
It's not true.
And Pablo always...
Do you pay for Pablo or do you do splitsies?
Oh, no, I always pay for Pablo. And he always chooses the restaurant. And of course, he always chooses high-end restaurants.
Because I have good taste.
Yeah, I don't begrudge you that. But if you're going to choose the restaurant and it's a high-end restaurant, you should at least pretend to want to pay. Pablo stopped faking it a while ago. But last night at the hotel, which is not nearly as expensive as the restaurant we went to the other night, Pablo did pay. So it's a step in the right direction. He brought a couple flatbreads and
some guac.
Yeah, and some guac, but
some margs.
I respect the move of offering to pay for what you know will be the cheapest meal that you spend with someone.
How many meals do you think we've had together? 50?
At least.
And you pay for one.
I dispute those statistics. Here's another number.
You pay for half of another one.
Here's another number. 6. The number of leather chairs Dominique has in his theater room in his house. So let's even out the playing field when it comes to labor and management here.
We're not evening out the playing fields. Do I always pay? Yes. I meant this as a celebration.
Hey, also, we're all labor, so let's not fight amongst ourselves. This is what they want.
Good point.
He's got a manager's theater room.
Damn right.
Yeah, take advantage of that Miami Spice deal, by the way.
Guy has chandeliers.
Let's talk about
telling me about flatbreads.
Sports?
Let's talk about sports.
You have chandeliers?
Johnny Manziel. Huh?
How
Johnny
many
Manziel.
chandeliers?
Johnny Manziel.
He doesn't want you to know about his chandeliers.
I don't have any chandeliers.
You live in a cul-de-sac.
So I don't live in a cul-de-sac.
But you have neighbors? Okay.
Yeah, of course I have neighbors. But I don't have a chandelier. I don't have anything. My wife and children got lots of stuff. They got lots of stuff. It's really tough being the only poor person in a house full of rich people.
Never put it in your name. Not a boy.
Quite.
Yeah. Tony spent the entire show
That's bad financial advice.
wondering about whether he's going
to
be stung in an operation.
I didn't like the cut of David Sampson's jib when he was like, "Yeah, we're running sting operations all the time," and now he's here, possibly running sting operations among us, which I don't like.
Yeah,
What?
Yeah, you didn't catch that, Roy. I caught it.
Yeah, that man's got a bad jib cut.
I'm clean, so.
Well, he looked like he'd frame you.
Yes, he would.
And to be honest, Roy, you look pretty frameable.
No, I don't.
Look around this place. I'm leaving tonight, Roy. Look around this place. Who looks the most frameable?
The Americans.
You think they're not going to get revenge for Montgomery? You think they're not going to get revenge?
Statistically speaking, yeah.
Johnny Manziel. Speaking of someone
of a jib cut.
Yes.
So this dude's jib was a real thing. So I forgot a lot about this story, admittedly. I forgot that Johnny Manziel's jib looked like the cut of a kid who was granted a wish.
Yeah.
Like, he does not seem like a prom king quarterback. He's not Tom Brady. He's not tall. He's not big. He's not strong. He looked and acted like a little kid who got a blank check upon which he wrote, "I want everything."
It's like if a trust fund kid got access early.
I love that. And actually, the whole Johnny Manziel was from a rich family was a lie.
That was one of the big revelations that I think there were suspicions around, but this confirmed it for good.
Yeah, so it came out that when all the autograph stuff was happening, his buddy, who was also like a 19-year-old, was in charge of the operation.
A 19-year-old
Yeah.
whose nickname was Uncle.
Yeah,
Uncle
really
Nick.
weird.
I don't
Nate.
understand that.
Really
Uncle
weird.
Nate, I'm sorry.
But when he was going on all these like private jets and, hanging out with celebrities, they wanted a way to explain it. That was it, hey, we're selling autographs. So he said that Johnny Manziel came from an oil family, and everyone believed it because he acts like a kid from an oil family.
And it's such a good excuse because that's so vague and ambiguous. And yet, you hear about those types of things in Texas and you're like, oh, sure, that guy's rich, probably oil money.
I wouldn't believe that Roy came from oil money, but I would believe that Johnny Manziel came from oil money.
What's that mean?
I don't know.
The point is, Johnny Manziel got to trade off of the stereotype of, plausibly, he's just some white quarterback who has family money. That's why he's hanging out in all of these places on private jets, making all of this money. And so when the NCAA came calling, that was the excuse they concocted. They wrote checks on behalf of his grandfather because he would feed him the money. It was a whole scheme. It was a great lie, to Jess's point.
Race is a part of everything, or at least the way that I view everything. I don't want to force race into this conversation in a way that's not necessary, but the documentary was not about that, but I couldn't help but be aware of the influence of all of that.
Yes.
And how he was treated. And not that he was treated super well, but how he was received in Texas Station. They kind of made it clear that he was up to some tomfoolery, and no one seemed to really care because the phrase that they used was he was one of us. And it was kind of framed as it could be he's from Texas. But actually, it kind of felt like... And while now it feels like we're at a place in NFL history where drafting athletic black quarterbacks is a thing in the first round that is more acceptable, it didn't feel like we were at that place then. And I had a mission for Pablo in his show. I need you guys to find this unhoused person that told Jimmy Haslam to draft Johnny Manziel. Because Johnny Manziel was not a first-round projection. And my belief is that Jimmy Haslam saw Johnny Manziel and was like, ooh. And then
he said, ooh, I like that jib.
I love that jib. And how do you justify getting a jib that's not qualified? Somebody that no one can ever find told me to do it.
Hey, it's Mike Ryan, and I've been outdoors more than I'd like to admit this summer. It's really hot. I've been burning through shirts. Can't go anywhere in South Florida without a backup shirt. I'm just telling you right now. But that's going to be the second best advice I give you here. The best advice I can possibly give you, it's cracking open that beautiful white can and letting the great taste of Miller Lite hit your taste buds so hard you feel it in your heart. Have yourself some Miller time, folks. Miller time. You know, the time when you and your friends can get together and enjoy the simple things in life. Why don't you let these wonderful summer moments get amplified with Miller Lite? Because when it's summertime, it tastes like Miller time. The best beer there is. I promise you, there isn't going to be a better decision that you can make this summer than just taking a sip out of that beautiful white can. Make unforgettable summer memories with Miller Lite. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
NFL Sunday Ticket is now on YouTube and YouTube TV, which means that it just got easier to be an NFL fan, even if you live far away. Like maybe you like the Bears, but you're hibernating in Panthers territory. But with NFL Sunday Ticket, your out-of-market team is never more than a short distance away. Specifically, the distance from you to your remote control. NFL Sunday Ticket, now on YouTube and YouTube TV. Go to youtube.com/presale to get $50 off.
Terms and embargoes apply. Offer ends 9/19. No refund. Subscription auto renews.
Don Batard. At the end of our conversation with Alex Smith, and we talked for about 30 minutes, but I feel like nobody is going to remember anything about that conversation other than how you fell flat at the end with your very last word. Listen to how Stugotz here at the end of this interview says goodbye, just exhausted, to Alex Smith.
Thanks, Alex.
Stugotz. What happened, Alish?
I'm Dan. I'm exhausted. I haven't stopped talking in a month. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
So we were talking about the jib that Jimmy Haslam, owner of the Browns, saw in Johnny Manziel. And I want to recap this story that Domonique was alluding to about how allegedly an unhoused person was the source for Jimmy Haslam that convinced him to draft Johnny Manziel in the first round of the NFL draft. And what he had told Sal Paolantonio at the time, Jimmy Haslam did, was, quote, "Here in Cleveland, everywhere I go, people know me. And I was out to dinner recently, and a homeless person was out on the street, looked up at me, and said, quote, draft Manziel, end quote."
Do you think Jimmy Haslam has ever respected the opinion of an unhoused person before? This is such an unbelievable tale. Like, bruh, you saw a super athletic white quarterback sliding in the draft, and you was like, I need to get him. How do I justify this? Blame it on an unhoused person that no one can ever find.
Also a person with incredible fame and popularity at the time who I believe his jersey sales like skyrocketed right after he was drafted. And people were really, really, really interested in seeing him succeed in the NFL. There was a large swath of people that saw how electric he was and bought into the whole Johnny football
he was an
persona.
incredible college player.
Thought he would be the savior in Cleveland, despite the fact that most people that watched a lot of, college football and did quarterback analysis thought he wasn't going to be that good in the pros.
And that homeless person grew up to be Hugh Jackson.
Amin's here. So one of the things, Amin, that we were just recapping was how good some of the lies that were told to prop up Johnny Manziel. Mm-hmm. And so the homeless, unhoused with a Z person, that is one aspect of it. But the oil money being fake, that part was such a brilliant concoction by Uncle Nate, his 19-year-old accomplice / friend, who was his manager, responsible for getting him out of trouble with the NCAA.
Wait. The dude's name is Uncle Nate?
Yep.
And he was 19 at the time?
Yep.
Oh, that was Dominique's.
I want to party with that guy, man.
By the way, there are photos in this documentary. They made a list. They made lists of like, what are your goals? It was all like, hang out with Drake, hang out with Snoop Dogg. It was just like all the famous people checking off lists. And they did all of it seems.
I don't know if other people had this practice, but you're supposed to write down your goals. And they did that. But the goals were absurd.
Manifestation.
The goals were be mentioned in a Drake song.
Yes.
Check.
One of the goals. It's like, what are you doing? And so the dishonesty of them at that time is juxtaposed with the unethical nature of the NCAA. So you find that they're positioned as heroes for part of it, but I do, in defense of the filmmakers, it does not feel like they are trying to create some redemption story, which I appreciated. They did not frame this as that was Johnny then, and now he has got it all together. Like, they close it by pretty much implying he gonna be back to this foolishness. And that's the way that I took it.
Wait a second. But he came on this show and he felt like he had turned over a leaf and grown and matured, right?
The big thing about him coming on this show. So Monday he was on the show and Chris Cote asked him a question about whether he was buying, his teammates' urine to pass drug tests. And he got so mad. He was not happy with that question at all. In the documentary, his agent said he did that. When he was to Chris, he was like, no. I don't know where that stuff gets made up. And then it was literally in the documentary the next day. So he owes our boy Chris an apology.
He's back to his shenanigans, is what I'm hearing. Oh, Johnny Football, back at it again.
Another lesson you learn from this documentary is if you cut ties with your agent real bad, make sure your agent isn't good at storytelling. Because this dude, Eric Burkhart, I believe is his name, was giving up everything.
Yeah, he was the one who talked about the drug tests. He was very clearly like, I'm excited to talk. This will be fun.
I believe we have investigative reporter Chris Cote on tape to listen to.
When you look back at regrettable conversations and spots you had to put almost teammates in because they're trying to help you and cover things up. I saw you had another quarterback at Texas A&M taking and passing drug tests for you. What put us in there, that conversation, asking a player to do that?
I don't necessarily agree with that or think that happened whatsoever. So, there may be a piece from, my buddy Nate's side where he saw something like that or thought he did, but in no way, shape, or form did that ever happen. Did I ever go to another quarterback or another person on our team and ask him to do that to pass a drug test. So, you know, there's a lot that gets lost in translation. This documentary is pretty spot on, but to kind of harp on that one thing, that never happened whatsoever for 1 second at A&M. You know, Coach Sumlin.
I think my favorite part about that is Chris Cote's impression of Dan Le Batard. That's what he's doing. You guys know that, right?
Journalist over here.
This is like he was doing the Italian speaking hands.
He did put me there.
Yeah.
Like it did seem like, and maybe it's because we love Chris, and I feel bad because Loose the Tooth set this up as Chris like celebration, and all we're doing in here is laughing at him performing interviewer.
Yeah, like he's trying, like, but this is from, there it is. This is
also where he's like, put me there. I don't know, at some point.
That's a spicy meatball.
What I gotta do to get another ass helping?
This is good for Chris. We need to make this
He's
the new
learning.
meme and get the one of him looking like someone who hates when players kneel for the anthem off Twitter. This can
No, that one's got to live a little longer. That one's too good. That one's way too good.
It is really good.
I got to see that. I don't know that one.
You don't know that one?
You don't know how Chris Cote looks like one of those avatars in that collage of avatars
It's a
MAGA
photo
people?
from when he shaved his beard in Salt Lake City, and it's a tough look.
At
for
some point, I mean, I don't want to go back to it now, but at some point, I just want to listen to Chris part of that again, because it's not just the physical demonstration. It's us knowing how Chris actually talks and watching him perform interviewer.
Can we play the beginning of that one more time to show Dominique's point there? If we could, that would be.
There it is.
Buy some time.
Yeah.
Phil Vamp.
When you look back at like regrettable conversations and spots you had to put almost
look at them
teammates
hands.
in because
Get
they're
it.
trying to help
He
you
got
and
rap
cover things
hands.
up. Like I saw you had another quarterback at Texas
take out the
A&M
sound and
taking
put,
and passing
like,
drug
Spider-Man
tests.
music
Like,
behind
what-
it?
Put us
Or a
in there,
hip-hop beat?
that conversation,
Oh, yeah, I know.
asking a player to do that. Like was
Yes,
that?
yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that.
Manja.
I know kids. No,
we don't need to
Johnny
be
Manziel.
lied to.
Again.
My favorite word that Johnny Manziel did say, though, in that bit that was the big giveaway was the adverb necessarily.
Yeah, I don't necessarily.
Anyone who says the word necessarily is just giving them the slightest shaft of sunlight to give, maybe I am telling the truth.
I don't agree at all. Like that's another giveaway.
He also said, I don't think that happened.
Yeah.
It's like, so then who thinks it happened if it wasn't you?
Also, why do you need somebody to pee for you? I mean, the drug tests in college are administered by the team. They don't have, maybe things have changed, but if I remember correctly, when I was in school, the team administered the drug tests, and which means Johnny Manziel was not going to get suspended no matter what he did. He was going to be all right, guys.
He needed some fleck bucks, I think, and he would have been fine. So my question, I haven't watched it yet, and I also wasn't here Monday, but I obviously lived through the Johnny Manziel era and witnessed the downfall.
Endured.
What do we think was the upshot of him participating in this documentary, and was anything actually revealed that was untold?
I mean, so it's a great question. It's a question I always ask myself, and that question is, why are you doing this? Why are you participating in a story that might make you look anything less than what you want to look like?
He also was here promoting it. Are we not sure? Are we sure that he's not getting compensated?
Is
he like a?
I was wondering the same thing. And it's
often that's the answer, right? We
Yeah.
talk about the Steph Curry doc. That was Steph Curry's production company.
and
The
that
Last
might
Dance
be the answer.
was Michael Jordan, but there were lies in this. I mean, that made me marvel. There's Chris Cote.
Yeah.
My God!
Complete with the off-brand Oakleys on the top.
It looks like he's looking.
God.
It looks like he's looking at Dominique, Roy, and Amin specifically.
He does.
Who let y'all in here?
That's very much.
Tell them to park their pontoon boat elsewhere.
He's got to have a bunch of flag emojis in his bio.
This guy got.
Andy Rapino, Mr. PK.
Chris Cote has truck nuts.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Ford F-150. Yeah.
No, that's a dually 350.
That's a 350. Yeah.
That's a dually look.
The one with the four tires in the
four
back.
tires is a dually. It's got two in the back.
Yeah.
What tells me he's got the dually is the sideburns are long.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
long boys.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so happy I don't live in Florida.
Says father of 3 in his bio, but he's constantly hitting on women on Twitter.
Yeah.
When he gets in his car, automatic. No matter what happens, it always starts playing. Try that in a small town.
Got that on a loop.
That's all that plays in the car.
I prefer Italian, Chris. I feel
I agree.
bad. I think we need to replace racist Twitter Abby Chris with Italian Chris.
Show us Italian
like
Chris.
my
Full screen
nonna
him.
telling me to eat more at dinner.
Mi hai
So I have 3
fregato.
bowls of pasta.
Look at that.
Oh,
yeah. Shit.
No, you nailed it.
Well said.
Please clip that audio so we can replay that forever. Amin petering out pathetically on trying to figure out the right Italian word for his Italian person impression.
It's funny because for Oddball, we did this headline about Paolo Banchero, who was supposed to play for Team Italy and then changed his mind and played for Team USA instead, and that the Italian Federation was really upset about it. And so I literally looked up a bunch of Italian stuff, and I said in my headline, I asked for comment, and I just ripped off a bunch of curse words in Italian.
It felt like your brain was trying to Google the phrase Italian stuff.
It's exactly what was happening. And my fat fingers in my brain were mistyping it, like, no, not in Italian.
Pasta fazool?
Che cosa?
Johnny Manziel is also a interesting figure to be part of this, considering you guys said that they did address the domestic violence charges that were brought against him in this.
I mean, it was breezed through like so much of his NFL career was. Dominique actually pointed out, I can't believe we haven't even gotten to his NFL career yet. Like we were 3/4 through the thing.
There was like 30 seconds of it, and he was interviewed in a different spot. He was like sitting outside by a lake. It felt very different.
It felt like they turned it in, and whoever the big boss is, it was like, so you're not even going to touch on it? Let's go talk to Johnny again. And it was like very inconclusive. They referenced that he took her somewhere and she didn't want to go there, but they didn't say what happened there. Then they said she got a restraining order against him.
There was a lot of jib management.